Hey everybody, welcome to You Died. It's Redbeard here. We're doing a first impressions video today on Dungeons & Dragons Tales from Candlekeep, Tomb of Annihilation. It's a tactics game very similar to the Dungeons & Dragons tabletop game, and it's very similar in style of XCOM, although a little bit simpler. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I do have a game started. I got through the first tutorial and the first mission just to get myself acquainted with the game and get an opinion on it to let you guys know what I think. We're going to go over the characters really quick here. There's 5 for you to choose from. Eventually you can have all 5 in your party at once, but when you start off like I am now, you can only have 1. So the first one is the Human Ranger Artist Simber. He's kind of like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. Just a ranger, all about using his bows and sword when he's at close range. He's got 15 AC, which is basically your armor rating, his defense. He has 8 health points, 6 speed, which means he can move, I believe, 6 tiles per turn, per his turn, and surge value of 4. I'm still not 100% sure what that does yet. Special ability, the Ring of Winter, lets him choose 2 extra daily powers from the Ring of Winter powers. Daily powers are things you can use once per quest. Mostly the characters only have 1, so the fact that he can pick 2 is quite an advantage for him. Next we're going to go on to Ashara, the Aarakocra Wizard. She's a bird lady. She's pretty cool. I haven't played with her yet, but I like her style. She has a spear, and that means she can attack one extra tile down from her, so she doesn't have to be adjacent to her enemies. She's got 14 AC, 6 HP, 6 speed like Artis, and 3 surge value. Her special ability is pretty interesting as well. Flight lets her pass through enemies while moving, and she doesn't trigger traps unless she ends her move on that square, which is very handy, so you don't have to disarm traps to get to enemies or tile edges and chests and things like that. And we're going to move on to Dragonbait next, who's a Sorial Paladin. They're like the Dragonborn style race. He has a lot of armor. He's kind of like the tanky fighter of all the characters. He's got 22 AC, 15 HP. He's one of the slower ones with 5 speed, but it's only 1 tile less, so it's not a huge deal. He also has the highest surge value. In all honesty, I'd say he's one of the more overpowered heroes I've seen so far. His ability, Divine Health, lets him get rid of 1 status condition on him before he does his turn, and that's very helpful if you get like poisoned or disadvantaged, things like that. He can just wipe it away. Next we're going to go on to Birdsong the Bard. I haven't got to try her out yet, but I think I will go her in the video just for the sake of trying everyone out. I tried the next character out as well. But she is a Tabaxi Bard. I guess Tabaxi is the name of this feline race. With 15 AC, which is pretty high for how limber she is. 8 HP, a 5 speed, which again is slow for how limber she is. You know, you think a feline would have high speed, and a 4 surge value. And Cat's Agility is the ability. When they step onto a trap square, they don't trigger the trap if they roll 5 or higher, which is, I want to say, fairly easy to do. The odds are in your favor at that point, but it also depends on your luck and how the RNG gods are feeling at the time of your roll. And lastly, we're going on to Kawasha. I tried him in the last mission. He's actually a lot of fun. He's a druid. He has 16 AC, 8 HP, 6 speed, and 4 surge value. His special ability, Koopalue, is really cool. He can summon his ally, Koopalue, who is like a little swamp person, and that person, Koopalue, can attack on Kawasha's villain phase. So basically, when the enemy that's attacking Kawasha goes, so does his ally. So it gives Kawasha 2 attacks in 1 turn. Alright, now that we've gone all over the champions or heroes, what have you, we're going to go ahead into the second mission. So since I'm level 3, I actually unlocked my second slot, so I can bring 2 heroes in. And I played as Kawasha last, and in the tutorial I tried Simber and Dragon Bait. So I'm going to go ahead with Ashara and Birdsong because I haven't tried them out. Alright, now that we have our teams selected and we've gone over all of their abilities, we're going to go ahead and get started on the quest. Now, my first impressions of the combat so far are that it is very basic. It's very similar to playing a board game, but it does very strongly invoke that feeling of traditional tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, which I love. It's something I've been looking for and that most Dungeons and Dragon games have really avoided. They've focused more on the role-playing aspect and less on the actual tabletop aspect, and that's something I've been wanting, so I'm very, very happy with how they pulled it off. So we're going to go ahead and skip through some of these dialogue things here. I'm going to do a series on this game probably later on, probably like a playthrough, but I just want to go and do a quick mission just to show you guys what it's like. I'm going to zoom in here, show you the character models. Very well done, you know, they look well even on just high. You know, it's a beautiful game. You can see the fur over here on Birdsong. Alright, so we start out, and every character has two things they can do per turn, per their hero phase. Every turn has 2 phases, a hero phase and a villain phase. I'm going to go over the hero phase right now. You can move and then take an action. So you move based on each character's speed. So I have 6 speed here with Ashara. She can move 6 tiles away, up to 6 tiles away. The way we get more tiles here, because as you can see we're only on like a small tile, we don't have anything around us, we move to one of these edges where we see these arrows coming out. And when we end our hero phase on one of those, it's going to do what's called exploration and open up that adjacent tile to where we were. Sometimes there's enemies, sometimes there's chests, sometimes there's traps. It's very different every time. I don't know if it's random at this point or if each quest has its own tiles, but so far it's been different. So I'm just going to move with Ashara here and end my phase. I can't take an action because there's nothing to attack. And because I'm on this edge tile, it's going to open up this new exploration tile. Got a goblin melee here. He just ran right in and went for Birdsong. I couldn't do anything about that. We're going to go ahead and get a good look at him for you. He looks pretty cool, actually. Got his little dreads up in a tail here. He's covered in some leaf armor. Got his little trinkets and jewelry on. Some homemade weaponry. It's pretty actually decent craftsmanship for a little goblin guy. Although I don't know how advanced goblins are. He's wearing leaf armor, so the fact that he has ironwork at all is pretty surprising. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to move Birdsong so she's not right up on this guy's grill. We're going to move her 2 tiles away from him. That way we're still in range with our abilities here. I think this poison dart can still attack. Yep, and what this poison dart's going to do is just do a quick small hit, but he only has 1 health. Even if it misses, it'll poison him. And we crit with it, so he's going to die right now. And I think that actually might do some spread damage to adjacent tiles, it looked like. I don't know if that was just the effect, but I'll see in the future if I can hit multiple enemies with that attack. Okay, and here the Bardic lore is going off. Since we killed him, we got our 2 treasure chests from the loot. So that's how this works, which is pretty interesting. We can either get Seize the Moment, and the way this works, it goes in our inventory down here, and it's kind of like a one-time use, or only during this quest we can use these. This is pretty interesting. Take one additional action immediately. I don't want to do that at the moment, though. I don't know if I can use this as an ability or if I have to use this right now. We'll figure that out if I decide to use it. Boots of Elvenkind. While in the inventory, your hero discovers a challenging tile. You have a 50% chance not to trigger an encounter. I'm actually going to go with that instead of risking using an extra action that I don't need now. So I'm going to get those because, like I said before, encounters happen when you go on to a new phase or a new turn. And this here is an encounter. So it says no exploration because I didn't open up a new tile. If I were to open up a new tile, I would get the exploration, and that gives kind of like a bonus to either a challenging tile or something better happening. Something good. It'll be green if it helps you, or if it's like nothing, and it's red if it's something that you have to really deal with, or it'll affect you negatively. This one here, the Zabu Mushroom Spores, I get often. Each hero on the active tile gains disadvantage, and so only Birdsong would get disadvantage, and I'm okay with that for now. Disadvantage just gives you like a -1 to your rolls and damage and stuff, and I think that only lasts the turn that you're affected, and it didn't look like Birdsong was actually affected with it. Normally when you're affected with it, there'll be a little red shield icon with some down arrows. I'm going to go over the UI a little bit here while we're in a little moment. And if you go over here on the right, you have these two icons of your characters. If you click on them, it'll show you their stats, their abilities that you have selected, and their special ability. Controlled enemies are when you discover an enemy. So say Ashara moves over here to a new tile, like I'll do now. When I end the phase, if a new enemy pops up, like this one, Ashara is technically the one in control of the spot. You can also see him up here. So Ashara is controlling him. That means he is attacking her. She's the one who discovered him. So he will move on her villain phase. As mentioned before, there's the hero phase and the villain phase. So after you end your phase in the hero phase, it goes to that hero's villain phase. Since he is the controlled villain here, the controlled enemy, when I end Ashara's turn, he attacks. Whereas when I end Birdsong's turn, since she doesn't have any controlled enemies at the moment, no enemies are going to go. So he's only going to go when I end Ashara's turn. And if you think about that in the long run, you can really plan ahead what your enemies can do. So if you try and plan like 2 to 3 turns ahead, knowing that that enemy can only move when you move with this character, you can plan how that character reacts. So with Ashara, I could either attack him, or I could just choose to stun him, and that way he won't be able to do anything for that turn. Since I'm on Birdsong, though, I'm going to get a lot closer to him, though. I'm going to keep Ashara together because I want to start working on their interesting abilities here with the Jack of all trades. Pop that off so these both get Jack of all trades, which lets them do an extra action per turn. So Birdsong's going to go ahead and attack. And hit or miss, these are both going to get advantage. Wow, I like that little guitar play. Alright, so now Ashara has advantage and the Jack of all trades. Let me explain advantage a little bit better here with disadvantage. You roll 2 die, you take the best result. Disadvantage is the same thing and you take the worst one. So say I roll an attack and I roll a 15, and then I roll again and I roll a 20. I'll get the 20 with advantage, but I would get the 15 with disadvantage. So having advantage is always the best of the two, because not only does it give you another chance to get a better roll, but it forces you to get the better roll. Now that I have the action point and the better rolls, I'm going to hopefully be able to get some good attacks and then get a new enemy up. So with this encounter, I have Death Curse. A die is rolled on an 18 or higher, lose a healing surge. If heroes have no healing surges left, this has no effect. What a healing surge is over here above your character icons is this little plus sign with a 3 next to it. That lets me revive a character if they die. So say my hit points on Birdsong go down to 0, she gets knocked out. On the next turn, the healing surge will go off, and then she'll come back to life with half health. So I don't want to waste those. I'm going to go ahead and use an adrenaline, which you have down here. You gain it through various means, mostly just through playing. I'm going to go ahead and use one adrenaline to counteract that, so that doesn't happen. And you can use that every turn or every encounter you get, so long as you have the adrenaline to spend. So there is some crazy resource management with adrenaline as well. You definitely want to keep an eye on this, because you can just use it to boost all the stats of your hero. I think it's like 1 turn at this bar, 2 turns at this bar, and 3 or more at this bar. But you can also use it to counteract those encounters, like I mentioned, which are very, very handy. I use it more for that than the stat boost. But again, I'm only on the 2nd mission, so there's a lot to the game I haven't experienced. I'm going to go ahead with Ashara, and I'm going to move to an adjacent tile since I can go ahead and still attack him from the range. I still have the Jack of all trades, so I can attack him and use one of these abilities. I don't know if I'm going to use the haste. I should have probably used that first. But I'm going to go ahead and try out this chromatic orb, because that was the one I wanted to try. Here we go, everyone. Yeah, I had the advantage there with the 16. It rolled a 2, I had a 6, and a 16, I believe. And it took the better of the 2, and I got the kill. I would not have gotten it if I didn't have the advantage. Now that I'm on this tile in my exploration phase, I get the new tile. I don't know what this is. I believe this is a new ally I can get. Straw Man. A straw decoy has been placed here by some of the local natives. Okay, so this is just an NPC. I don't know if I have to really deal with him or not. I'm gonna go ahead and move to the right some more here. I could go this way to the left, but all I have to do is find the village tile. Since I'm at the straw man, I know I'm gonna be near it. So I think if it's not this tile, I'm gonna have Ashara on the next turn go over here. This little glowing thing right here, the ambush tile, if you end your turn on that, you get a special encounter. Sometimes they're good, sometimes an enemy pops up. So the village tile is probably this way. I'm going to go ahead and use Ashara to go this way, because we've got the other decoy here, and I'm sure these decoys are placed by the village to keep all of those pesky goblins away. Asshole goblins. Alright, these here, I'm glad I'm getting all these tiles to show you guys exactly how this game looks and plays. These are your trap tiles, all these red ones. Ashara, her ability Flight, lets her fly through them as long as she doesn't stay on them, doesn't end her turn. So I could move over here, but I'd end my turn on an ambush site. So what I'm going to do instead with Birdsong is move her up here, and I can go ahead and left click on these traps to try and disarm them. It does just a die roll. If you roll high enough, it disarms the trap. If you don't, then it damages your character. Or whatever the trap does, it's the negative effects of it. I'm just going to go ahead and try and disarm this one so that Ashara can get to this chest on her next turn. And we failed that roll, but luckily Birdsong was able to dodge it, having that higher speed and AC. I'm not sure which actually goes into that roll. With this encounter, since it's green, nothing bad happens. It says nothing happens. It's like the happening just stops happening. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead with Ashara, fly into the ambush site. She dodged the ambush site, which is good. I'm going to open the chest here. We get Potion of Heroism. I can't really do anything at the moment, so I'll just end my phase. My next plan is to go this way, but with Birdsong, I want to move this way. Again, I have a null encounter, which I am glad about, because they can be a pain when you have very low health and you just want to get over with, you know, you just want to finish that mission. and then an encounter just comes out of nowhere and kills you. That actually happened to me in the tutorial, or the mission after the tutorial. So we're going to fly back over here. There's traps here, which means the village may be this way as well. This does seem randomly generated, from what I can tell, so it may take us a while. We may find it soon. With this biting insects, it attacks each hero with one tile, which means they both get attacked, and I don't want that. It'll only do it'll only do 1 or 2 damage, but I don't want to risk it because I don't know if there's going to be enemies on the final tile. Alright, so in this encounter, we have Dark Influence. Each hero on or adjacent to an ambush site takes damage. Nobody is on or adjacent to one, so I'm just going to skip that. No one's going to get hurt. If I had kept Ashara over here when I got that, she would be hurt. Ashara, I'm just going to go ahead and roll, disarm the trap, and we're going to move to the tile and enter space, hopefully get the village here. Oh, I have a boss fight, the Vegapygmy Chieftain. Vegapygmies are like, the Ebes. I don't know what his race is called, from Oddworld, Ebes, Exodus, and Odyssey. Okay, so they're coming out, like, aggressive. Not even giving me a chance to react, they're just running out and attacking me, and then running off. Alright, so Birdsong, you're gonna get over here in between them both. And we're gonna try out and see if we can get the multiple hits here. It just says attack one monster within one tile. If I do poison one, I want to poison the boss monster. He's like a boss level 1 up here. I'm not sure on the exact terminology yet, but I've fought up to a level 3 so far, so he shouldn't be too big of an issue. Alright, so now that we are not going to take anything from this Dark Influence, we're just going to go ahead and Alright, so the Vegapygmy Chieftain summoned up another ally. I took just 2 hits there, not too bad. He seems like he's just trying to summon up as much adds as possible and run off. And I don't want to get stacked with adds, but I don't want him to just keep throwing adds at me while I'm focused on these ones. So I think I'm going to split up the attacks here. With Ashara, I'm going to go for this guy because I have better range with her. And then Birdsong, I'm going to focus down these 2 little adds. So Ashara, we're going to go ahead. She still has the Jack of all trades. I can do 2 actions. I'm going to pop my mage armor off. Get the better armor class. And we can do more damage with the chromatic orb here. So we're going to go ahead and do that on the Pygmy Chieftain here. I really like that effect. Oh, and that was all we had to do. Awesome. So I didn't have to worry about those adds. That was the end of the mission. We're going to go to the reward screen. But that was just the quick first impressions. I'm quite enjoying this game. I'm going to be doing more videos on it. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed it, I'm going to just open this chest here, show you some of these items you can get. There's a lot of crafting. I'll go over those in a future video as well. How that works and how you can do it. And we leveled up Ashara, and actually we just leveled up ourselves, so we get an extra hero. We can bring 3 heroes in, and we get a new uncommon chest to open. I'm not going to open that right now because I do have these 4 still. But this is what the finish screen was. It took 18 minutes total, defeated 3 monsters, explored 7 tiles, and we can just check out Birdsong stuff too. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you liked the video, give us a like and subscribe. If you look forward to this, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know as well. We want to make stuff that you guys want to watch. So thanks again for watching. Come back again for You Died.